All right, back in the fan forum here, staying in the NFC East, going to the NFC East for the first time here, talking about the New York Football Giants. Joining me today, one of the biggest Giant fans I know, Phil Lombardo is here. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it. Always have fun here.
Yeah, before we get to the Giants, I have to ask, are the rumors true that you are Donnie Stevenson, secretly in disguise?
Well, I didn't think that the word would get out so fast, but Pete Alonso has been praising me for the last couple of days, so now I guess the secret's out.
Yeah, the rumors are that if the Mets get 10,000 retweets of a stat they put out, they'll put your picture out tonight.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's a decent one because I told them if I put my picture out there, they better have me looking more like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye to see if the Leo pick goes out there for when Donnie Stevenson gets unveiled. But we'll talk about the Giants here. And one thing you and other Giant fans killed Dave Gettleman for years is that he never trades back. He always sits there and makes the picks. This year he trades back not once but twice. How shocked were you that he actually traded back?
I actually, it's been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to Dave Gettleman. Early on, he made plenty of head scratching picks, and he certainly heard it from the fans, experts, other executives around the league, and myself, of course. But I wasn't super surprised about the trades because at 11, with the draft kind of after those top 10 picks being a little fuzzy with value, it didn't shock me to see that Gettleman was able to make a move, especially when it came down to what he got.
Oh, yeah, because, for sure, you got, a first-round pick from a desperate Bears team next year. You get an extra 4, extra 5, and then he gets a 3 from the Dolphins, and he did a good job with those trades. Yeah,
and the thing is those first few drafts that he had with the Giants were a little shaky, but I thought, last year was an overall positive one. McKinney got hurt in the preseason, which was unfortunate, but I thought that was a fantastic grab for them in the second round. Thomas started off very slow. But, he came on towards the end of the year, and that's what you expected from, a guy of his stature and his pedigree without OTAs, starting off slow, but gaining some steam as the season went on. But also there was an article that came out a few days before the draft, and I think it was the New York Daily News might have posted it, that DG basically said he's tried to trade down multiple times and refuses to, quote unquote, get fleeced. So he's never pulled the trigger. And I think that's partially true, which is kind of why I wasn't super surprised about him trading down, but he definitely quieted any doubters after what he did. And when it comes to the trade downs themselves, I guess, the first one was pretty obvious in my opinion. A lot of people said they wanted Rashawn Slater or Micah Parsons, but I know that I wasn't in love with either of those guys, and I guess neither was DG. And when Chicago offers a haul like they did, and you only move up 9 or down 9 slots. You aren't currently in love with anybody on the board at the spot you're at. You jump on it. You land a 5th rounder this year, as well as an extra 1st and extra 4th next year. It's a no-brainer, and I think it's something that pretty much every GM would have done had they been in Gettleman's shoes.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the start at number 20, who they end up there with Kadarius Toney, the receiver out of Florida. This is one where I like the player, I like the skill set. I just wonder if, considering that Jason Garrett's not a very creative guy as an offensive coordinator, if a more traditional pass catcher might have been a better option here. What do you think?
I've heard that, and that's the one knock on the pick. But at the end of the day, this is a league that's constantly evolving, and players like Kadarius Toney are becoming increasingly more important to have in an offense. He adds an entire new wrinkle to this team. And let's be real. What is not to like about Kadarius Toney, the football player, though? The dude is absolutely electric with the ball in his hands. His ability to work in small spaces, his acceleration, and his fearlessness make him a threat to take to the house anytime he touches the ball. So he's also somebody who I love because you can move him all over the field. He has experience as a dangerous returner. And I think, at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, he's going to make offenses basically game plan around him because of his versatility and his ability to make people miss. And I know that Jason Garrett might not be the most creative guy at the end of the day, but he's going to learn how to use Toney in more than one way. And I think he's going to, they're going to be able to look at film of guys like Tyreek Hill, and they're going to be able to say, all right, what have other teams had success with guys like Toney, and how can we use this to our advantage?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think that's something to track there. I think the second round pick I like more because Azeez Ojulari was a first round talent at the edge rusher position. He fell to the second. The Giants traded back, still got him, got a player who can really help one of their biggest depths. So what do you think about Ojulari?
Yeah, I mean, so the Giants have always historically loved SEC guys, which is now an obvious trend among all GMs across the league. But I like to think the Giants were one of those first teams to really jump on board and focus strictly on the SEC because it really is like the NFL light when it comes to college ball. But honestly, I will say Azeez was my guy coming into the draft. Man's an absolute problem for opposing passers and someone who I thought could have easily gone in the first 20 picks. And I certainly wouldn't have blinked if the Giants drafted him with their first rounder, as I believe he was definitely the best edge rusher available in the entire draft. He just seems to have an advanced understanding of what it takes to disrupt the quarterback. He has a number of moves he could put on a lineman. He's long. I think he has like 35-inch arms. He's quick. He's got that bend when working on the edge that most elite pass rushers have. Think about like Khalil Mack, DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, guys of that caliber who once they know they have you beat by a half step, they dip that shoulder and accelerate to the QB. And I'm not saying he's them, but the potential is there, and you can definitely tell he studied those guys because he's adapted a lot of their good qualities and applied it to his game. Also, though, I've seen that he's proven that his athleticism goes beyond pass rushing. He has the ability to drop back in coverage as well as stand up and play the run. So another versatile weapon for the defense that you can move around and really help confuse opposing offenses. And I think he's going to perfectly complement guys like Leonard Williams and Big Dex in the middle, and somebody who's going to definitely just immediately step in as a starter.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you got to wrap it up here. How would you grade Trader Dave's draft here?
Okay, so Dave Gettleman did the unthinkable. And he filled two major needs in his first two rounds and at the same time acquired 3 additional picks for next season in the process. Just to talk about a couple of the other picks real quick, Aaron Robinson can come in and start instantly in the slot, I think. He started at Alabama, so he knows what it takes to play against elite competition. And he should help definitely raise the play of second-year cornerback Darnay Holmes, who actually didn't allow a touchdown in his rookie season. So I think those two guys together, complementing, with the addition of Dory Jackson, and obviously James Bradbury coming off a tremendous year, that really makes that secondary rounded out perfectly, in my opinion. I like the potential of Ellerson Smith, the 4th-round pick, who flashed during the Senior Bowl. And I can even see Rodarius Williams coming in with something to prove and competing for a spot in the secondary as well. Overall, it was the second draft in a row that Gettleman addressed needs without sacrificing value. And the only reason I'm not giving this draft grade a full A is that I thought maybe we could have looked at an offensive lineman like Stone Forsythe in the later rounds for depth and competition purposes. So I give this an A-. I think it was well done. I understand some people's qualms about the Tony pick, but overall what they did is they addressed needs and they set themselves up for success not only this year, but in the 2022 draft, which is supposedly much deeper than this one was.
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of fun to see how they attack this draft next year. They did a good job this year. Phil, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it too.